prepared, such ointments would never have been applied to him. And then he's seen walking alive from the same sepulchre. And you can see or visualize the view of his walking out, putting his hand on the shoulder of two of his disciples because he was still in pain. And then he's shown by the Bible to appear to some of his disciples with the same bodily wounds which he had suffered at cross. And when they were afraid that he was a ghost, it was Jesus himself who told them that he was not a ghost. Why did they think he was a ghost? Because it is reported that in the Bible, in the same New Testament, then Jesus gave up the ghost while still upon cross. This was rejected by no other person than Jesus himself. If he had agreed with that statement, he could never have told his own disciples that, "Come and touch me, I am not a ghost. I have a physical body, the same which was crucified or attempted to be crucified." And he invited them and told them to touch his wounds, here and there and hands, etc. So that is the reality of Jesus. Then he migrated from there in search of the children of Israel. And this was in pursuance of a prophecy he himself had made. Before crucifixion, he had delivered the message to his people that he will show them the sign of leaving them in search of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, everybody should inquire as to what lost sheep there was. Did ever the house of Israel lose any little sheep? Nowhere. The very people of Israel were called sheep, the sheep of God. And you know as well as I do that 10 tribes out of 12 before the advent of Jesus had been expelled from the mainland, Judea and Palestine, and they traveled far and wide and got lost in the world. Yet Israelites have some special features, some nomenclature, some habits, by which they can be recognized if they got settled in strength in some particular country or an area of a country. The researchers, the Christian researchers, as well as all who have had experience of visiting Afghanistan or Kashmir, can stand witness to the fact that their features do not belong to the features of the subcontinent people. Both the features of the Afghanis and the features of the Kashmiris are radically different from those of other races of India and Pakistan, etc. And their noses, their nomenclature, their tribes are still called Daud Khel, Isa Khel, Musa Khel. You see, every old name is still retained by these tribes. And all the names of the territories in Kashmir are reminiscent of the old Israel's residence and dwelling. There are thrones which are called the thrones of David, there are thrones which are called the thrones of Ismail, and so on and so forth. No, not Ismail, but of Solomon. And the tops of the hills are also named after the Jewish prophets. But leaving those things apart, some scholars who have written on this, who traveled to Kashmir, have written something which touched my heart especially. One of the writers says that if you want to visualize the life in the old Palestine, in the days of Kashmir, in the days of Jesus Christ, go to visit Lake Dal in Kashmir and see the Kashmiri women filling their pots with water, and the way they are attired, and the way they behave, they exactly reproduce the picture of the old Palestinian days. Now, this scholar must have read about those things which happened in the past, and when he saw them happening before his eyes, about 2,000 years later, he was astounded to see these things. So this is not a fact of the past, this is a contemporary fact I'm talking about. Anyone can go to Kashmir and see this happen with his own eyes. So that is why we believe that it was Jesus who was seen by a king of Kashmir when he went on a hunting expedition. He saw a man dressed in white coming with a few other pious-looking people who were also dressed in the same way. And he looked so pious and a great man that the king was amazed. And out of respect, he went to him and inquired from him who he was, what was he doing in this land. The answer, which is still recorded by Hindu scriptures, you can find that from any Hindu temple here in England as well. The answer is recorded in Puranas, the annals, Hindu annals of that period. The answer was, my name is Messiah, or I am Messiah. I am a prophet of God who was attempted to be murdered by his own people, but who was saved by God. So I have traveled in search of those people who had earlier left my country and have come to your country and settled here. This is the prophet which is mentioned as Messiah, foreign prophet, by no other person than Buddha himself. He said the new Buddha who you would receive would be Messiah, who would not belong to our race. He'll come from foreign country. But he will be the Buddha of 500 or 550 years from now. I don't remember exactly, but I think it is 500 years from that period. And he appeared. Second time, that Messiah was predicted to come during the latter days, when again Buddha himself would come. And that is why I said this prophecy has been fulfilled twice. Once in the form of the previous Messiah, and once in the form of the Messiah who came on his footsteps. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for this.